I never really know how to start these things, so I guess I'll just kind of like talk about the run. Um, the resetting for buried treasure, as usual. I'll be honest, I'm not very happy. I'm kind of blind here, by the way. Like you can see right there, the buried treasure is just sticking out, and I just don't see it. But I am not very happy with this run. I think there's a lot of poor misplays. And it did have pretty easy. This would have easily been sub 20 or sub 15 rather. If one thing later that you'll see did not happen, but there is a thing that goes pretty wrong. I played it well for what happens, and there was nothing I could really do about it. But it does prevent it from being sub 15 when it otherwise would have pretty easily been sub 15. I decided to cut out my mic for this run, at least for now. Like, I'll have it in later at the end, but I cut it now just because it's not really necessary. I've been learning hotkeys for the right half of my hotbar, so my crafting is a little bit iffy because of that. But it's not terrible. This is like the first PB in a good while where I've just had a straight up buried treasure. There's always some bullshit. I don't see any kelp, so I decided to just like go a direction and find out. Another thing since the last PB, I've actually like properly set up my OBS so that it doesn't look ugly. Like it's in full screen now, and I have like a nice background. It's a strawberry jam art instead of just my desktop when I do macros. So that's cool. Relatively clean portal build, a little bit slow, but it's okay. And we're in at just over 2 minutes. And I get a bastion load very quickly. But I have 2 spikes. One of them is in a wall, and the other one has terrain, so I just go for the one with terrain and hope it's the closer one. And that play ends up working out, I would say. I can't quite see the bastion yet, but I do look back over in that direction. It's just a big wall. Like, there's no chance of going that direction. So I just kind of keep heading in this direction. There's a piglin mad at me, not a big deal. There's not really much to say, just kind of boat down to this warped forest and hope I run into the bastion. I checked my erase spike just to see if I've like gone off course, and I did actually. I passed it a little bit, so now it's to the right. So it's a good thing I checked that, or I just would have never found this bastion. And there's the bastion. You can see it is a stables, and I'm pretty sure I can tell that now, just based off of the fact that there's no triple, which is honestly a little tragic because triples are obviously what you want. I decide I want to try to get some armor from this chest, and then these piglins give me a little bit of grief, so I can't really get to that chest super easily. And I just decide to go up to the left wall and go to the top chest in this double chest. Normally I wouldn't care so much about armor, but gaps in specific, which is what I have to do here because there's no triple, are a little bit scary with no armor because of the tight enclosed corridor. So I get some armor. I can tell by that little gap in the wall there that this left side is good, so I just head straight in here. I turn around for a second to think about punching a pig, but I decide to just break this gilded blackstone instead. And I just start your standard gap route. I don't like playing gaps because they're like the slowest route possible, but it's what I have here, so I have to go for it. Make sure to let your pigs in so you can get trading. Always throw gold before you let the pigs in, because otherwise this happens where they just like walk straight over the hole. block it off so when I'm mining this gold, no piglins interrupt. Here's standard gap route. At this point, I decide I might as well check for a fortress now since I'm just waiting on trades. There is an argument to be made to checking chests first, but I just find checking chests in a gap route to be really annoying because the hole is all the way down here and you have to go up there and then back down, so I decided to wait for some pearls first so I could hang a pearl. At least I think that's what I do. Yeah, no, I'm going this way to hang a pearl, I would presume. Yeah. So then I can, you know, go check my chest, come back down to the hole, and then just leave. I go this way to get to my chest, and I craft coarse dirt just because it's more efficient with the blocks. Oh, almost fell there. So now I'm just checking my chest, looking for primarily obsidian, because that's the least likely to get all that you want. But I'm not really getting lucky with the obsidian chests here. I have, I think, 3 more chests I can check. There is 6 in here, which gets me to 10, which is like the bare minimum. Like, you can try to play off a blind here with that. No obsidian in that chest. There's 1 more chest. And there's just no obsidian in that chest. I don't actually know if the right side is a bad gap or a good gap. If it's a bad gap, then there is 1 more chest that could potentially have obsidian, but since it was buried, I wasn't able to check, and I didn't want to go all the way down there. So I just go back to my trades and collect them all, and then I just leave. After, like, setting up my inventory. I don't have many explosives is the other thing. I only have 30 string, which is like, I think it's less than, it's 2 beds, I believe, which is not ideal. But I unhang my pearl, it goes into lava, which is kind of what I expected. It's not the greatest, but it could be worse. And I'm out at 7 minutes, which is, it's okay pace. I've had better, but all in all, if you can get to the fortress first, which I don't know if I saw it in the run, but just now I actually did see the fortress leg. If you can get to the fortress pretty quickly, it's very reasonably sub 15 pace. I don't know what I was expecting with that part. I guess I did hit the terrain, so I guess I kind of got what I was going for there. But yeah, you saw earlier I threw a pearl trying to get to some terrain and it didn't work out. Anyway, here's the fortress, so I'm just kind of already there. Under 8 minutes, which is pretty good pace. Again, I've had better, but it's not bad. And I'm also just right next to a spawner. I get kind of clocked by this guy, but it's chill. I'm just right next to a spawner already, though, which makes it really good, because usually I waste like 2 minutes trying to find a spawner. I don't remember how the blaze rates are specifically, but I've gone 1 for 2 so far. This run was like Sunday, by the way, so it's been a while. We've gone 3 for 4 now, so that's actually quite good rates. I'm just checking to see if this is a good spot to blind since I don't have 20 obsidian, and it's okay for high roll, so I decided to send here. That's 4 for 5, 5 for 6. So we go 6 for 7, which is really good rates, actually, which is going to allow me to blind at about 9 minutes. I decided to build my portal here for some reason. I should have built it up higher because there is less chance of getting caved. Which, as you'll see here, I do in fact get caved. It's still a time loss, but it's not as much of a time loss as if I had to dig back down to my portal to double travel. And also the surface is right here, so it's not a big deal. So now I'm just setting up my bow die. You'll notice I set up the OBS overlay for Ninja Brain Bot. In the bottom left, I just think it looks cooler. I can use a color key to make it transparent. The one downgrade about using this macro setup is you can't actually see like the precise pixel measurements on the left anymore, but I don't think it's a big deal. I only get a 62% chance here, so I decided to just move over a little bit and throw another eye. This measuring could be way faster, but it's whatever. And now I have a 100% chance that it's a 1,000 block blind, which is, it could be worse. Could be worse. But it's not great. I will probably lose 4 or 5 minutes on this travel. And this is the reason that this is not a sub 15. If I had 20 obsidian, then I could have been on cords in about a minute and been in the stronghold at like 11 minutes. Which is super reasonable sub 15. But I only had a blind. So I had to travel 1,000 blocks by hand. Luckily I had the pearls to do that. I just don't really have the food, so I'm going to have to do some hunger resets or get food later. And I only have 2 beds. That's another problem. I think about going to those cows for food, but then I see these sheep over here, and that's why I crafted those shears actually, was in case I ran into sheep. Because now I can solve my explosives problem. I can throw another pearl here, I don't know why I don't. Probably just because it's scary. But yeah, I can go in and I can shear all these sheep and get all my explosives, no problem. I could also kill them for food. I don't know why I don't. But I opt to just hunger reset several times instead. But again, I don't hunger reset here for some reason. Like, I just wait until I'm over here. Scary skeleton there. And I decide over here is the place to hunger reset so I can throw some pearls. I sleep through the night just to not have to deal with it, I guess. It's time loss, but whatever. And now I can throw some more pearls. I might speed this part up just because no one wants to watch me throw pearls for 3 minutes. But I accidentally throw an eye there, though, which is annoying. I was trying to place blocks, and I was on the wrong spot. Luckily, it doesn't break. So that was a misplay and a half. I tried F3C to copy my location so I can see how far I am, but because I threw that eye, it thinks I'm trying to read an eye. So I don't get any distance information other than 600 blocks from where I last F3C'd. Gotta go do another hunger reset. I'm not too worried about using all my pearls because I don't have the explosives for a 0 anyway. I think I have 5 beds. I probably could craft anchors. Yeah, I can craft 1 anchor. I don't actually know how many explosives I have here. No, it's at least 6. So I guess I could 0, but I don't. And I'm actually pretty much on cords right now. Yeah, no, I'm on cords directly, so I dig down here. I set up my pie chart for preemptive. So I lost about 3 minutes on that travel. It's not as bad as I thought, but like this is still sub 15 pace if I can hit the nav and then get an insta perch or a 0. The stronghold is really deep underground, like more than usual. And then I don't get a good spike on my preemptive, which is a little annoying. So I just decided to send this 40%, which is like almost a pure spike, but pure spikes are less trustworthy. And it's also, my pure spike is usually 44%. And it's just not here. So now I'm just kind of checking around the area to see if it's in a different pathway. I see this hallway, and I think maybe that's it because it's, you know, not a missing ceiling, but it just replaced the cave floor there. I checked this way. I don't even know why I didn't have a spike this way. I'm just like panicking at this point, like I didn't get a spike, so I guess I'll just check. And I see the wall of the port room here, so I dig in through here. I opt to do a hunger reset because I don't have any food. I respawn in a weird spot because of where I placed the bed. And it's obviously not sub 15able anymore. But I am entering the end in under 15, which is still PB pace because my previous was 16:58. I just didn't even bother to set up for 0. Even though I have 6 beds, so I could have done 0. But it was... That looks like back 94 or 97. I can do 94, but 97 is sketchy, so it's like whatever. And so now I just wait for the perch. Was able to correctly predict that that was a perch, even though it didn't really snap, and I run to the wrong side purely just from nerves. But I have 6 beds, so it's completely fine. And there we go. It was almost 5 bed. It was like 1 health, but it's whatever. I could have played it better, but you know what? I'm chill with that for 1,000 block blind. Sure thing, man.